Having an exceptional relationship with your spouse affects every single aspect of your life and is crucial for experiencing your dream life together. I'm Rob Murgatroyd.
And I'm Kim Murgatroyd. Listen in on our honest, filter-free conversations as we navigate life and business together without killing each other.
You'll learn by osmosis how to transform the friction you feel in your relationship into a purposeful foundation that will allow you to grow together.
Welcome to the Friday Podcast.
Kimberly Lagoria Murgatroyd, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. We have a couple of friends with us today, it looks like.
Let me just set the stage. We're sitting in the Cinque Terre. We're in Vernazza, up on the hillside in an old, what do you say this was? Not a castle, a tower for them to defend against the pirates. And we have our first ever Ultimate Italia Experience here. And we just put them on the spot and told them they're going to be on a podcast.
You know what's amazing about this? In all these episodes we've done, in 500-600, one time we had a guest. Sophia was going crazy, so we hired a child psychiatrist. And we're like, we need any help you could give us. That was the only one. But other than that, we've never had a guest. And now we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 guests.
What we wanted to do with you guys is while you're in the moment and you're here, we want to capture different things. How are you feeling? How does travel change you? We have questions. Rob, I'm going to let you kick it off.
All right. So what we're going to do is you guys can kind of answer it in any way that you want. But we wrote down a couple of questions. The first one is, as we're sitting here, if we describe this environment, I would say we are like built into a bluff on the side of a mountain.
I just did that.
I know, but I feel like I can do it better.
Okay, so if you've watched the movie Luca, the children's movie.
Perfect.
We're sitting in the village of Luca and we're looking at the sea and we're about to eat. So you might actually get some eating sounds. So Gail, you're going to kick it off with questions, but if somebody else wants to answer or add to, just pass the conch shell, aka microphone.
All right, so the first question, you guys can think about this. Maybe we'll just take a couple of people. If you had to encapsulate this experience up until this point and you had to put it into 3 words, what would those 3 words be? Let's start with you, Gail.
Magical, heartful, dreamy.
Dreamy, I love that. I'm not sure heartful is a word, though. I have to Google that.
I don't know. I may have made that up. My heart is overflowing.
Okay, who else? 3 words.
She stole my word magical, by the way. I'd say breathtaking are the views. Eye-opening in terms of the culture and learning the history and what's behind it and understanding the enemies. And romantic. Sure. After 5 days together, it's all a bit of romance.
After 5 days and a lot of conversations about Tinder.
We're going to pretend like it didn't happen. Okay, the next one I want to move into, and I think a lot of people who are thinking about doing a trip like this have got reservations. I'm taking a trip with people I don't know. I'm coming to a country I've never been to before, stuff like that. We've been on this journey now for, how many days has it been?
It feels like 10.
No, it's about 4 days
right?
now. Funding or insight about this trip has surprised you the most? Where you're like, I didn't think it was going to be like this. This was different than I thought. Who wants to take that one?
Or anything about connecting, like even how did you feel before you were coming? Because if you're a solo traveler, you're a couple, back to Jerry.
That's Jerry.
I'm sorry. I'll just start until, because I know
this is
everybody's
going to be the Rob Kim and Jerry show.
Yes.
No, everybody has views because we've talked about it here. I think you come into this and you don't expect to understand who's going to be there. But then you realize, everybody's leading different lives, but we have so many commonalities as well. And I think it's beautiful that we all get to know one another. And we were strangers 5 days ago for the most part. And then we get together. And that's a great experience for us.
We are family.
Listen, I mean, for us too, because we've done these things. I'd say this is probably our 11th one now. And in every single one, there has not been a problem. There's one pain in the ass girl that was a while ago. It was like one bad apple can spoil the whole trip. But we always just know that the magic just happens and it's really worked out great.
So I've had this conversation with Jerry before, asking him what is his thoughts when he first found out about this trip, and he was a little skeptical. And I remember that on my first trip, I was skeptical, and it wasn't this one, but Lewis Houses. And what I realized that I had so many good friends that came out of it, and the experiences that I came out of it, that I knew that if I did more of these, I'm only adding more of these moments, these experiences, people that I've met. We've already exchanged numbers and addresses. And the way you've done it, you've taken it over the top. You set the bar really high.
We tend to do that.
And I just think that the bonding we've had how we all look out for each other, whether it was moments that we needed a little bit of help. Jerry was always there to make sure no one was falling behind. And it's just the generosity of everybody that was just so warming.
Heartful.
Very heartful.
Okay, I'm going to do this next one, and I know who I'm giving this to. Here you go, Christine. Italy has a unique energy and aura to it, and it can provoke emotion. And the moment you arrived, you posted a picture of the Duomo at night, and you said in your post that there were tears. And I can identify with that because the moment I landed in Florence when I was 16 years old, I had a very similar experience. Can you share how the energy has come to you and affected you and what that feels like?
The moment I arrived in the city, the energy, even though I just got off the plane and I was tired, I couldn't stop. I just kept walking until 10 p.m. I felt comfortable and very safe everywhere I went. And then the next day I got up super early. I turned the corner and there it was. And it was like a dream came true. And it still feels it when I walk around it. I've been waiting for this moment since January. I think just to be here and feel this in my heart, and I still feel it. Every day it grows and grows. And our bond keeps growing. We keep learning more about each other every day. And it's just been so amazing, and I just feel so lucky.
One more thing. Keep your mic. When Rob and I came here and we toured Sophia's school, we had seen the school on video so many times, and I walked into the cortile, which is like the courtyard, and I walked out the back door, and there was just this view of Tuscany. And I started the ugly cry, like like that one. And then the headmaster came down. Okay, I'm supposed to be making an impression here. I want to be accepted to this. I want to be accepted to the school too, but I want to her, and I literally was crying like the ugly cry where I couldn't catch my breath. And she said the most beautiful thing to me. She said, "We don't stop your emotion here. We don't apologize for emotion." And I just thought that was so beautiful. And I've been walking around with you, and it's like we turn a corner and there's a sunset, or we walk up on the cliff here in Cinque Terre and there's a view, and you're like, wow, this is spectacular. Of all of these views, so we've done Cinque Terre, you've got the Duomo, we climbed the Duomo, you've got the hills of Tuscany. What is your favorite, do you think? If you had to choose a favorite, what is the one that spoke to your heart the most?
I think when we went on the top of the hill and saw the sunset and just that golden burst.
Up on Piazzale Michelangelo.
Yes, yeah, and I just think this is the moment. I've been waiting for this moment, and here it is.
Oh my God, someone hug her.
When I saw the golden sunset, and I just thought, I can't believe it. Every day is a new pinch me moment.
It's a new pinch me moment.
Every day.
And how about the seafood platter that just was put? This is a pinch me moment. This seafood platter just arrived at our lunch. You guys are all joining us for lunch today on this Friday. And it's a warm seafood salad, just in case you're wondering what the first course is.
All right, so I have a slightly different question for you. One of the things that we like to pride ourselves on, I think, is having exclusive access to things that people wouldn't ordinarily get. It's one thing to say, let's go see the Duomo. It's another thing to say, let's open the Duomo with the guy who opens the Duomo. My question is to anybody, in what way did, let's say, the opening of the Duomo or getting into the Medici private balcony or anything else that we did from a private, in what way did it perhaps connect you to the city in a different way?
I think it started off with the opera singer. I've never had a private opera singer. Yeah, so we got there about 6:30, 6:45 in the morning. It was still dark out. There were very few people on the street, and so we arrive at the Duomo, and there's this lady, and she's beautiful, dressed to the nine, and I'm thinking she must be like going to be our tour guide, something, and we stand on the sidewalk, and she just starts singing such beautiful opera music, and it's, wow, she's there for us. Who gets to experience that? That set the stage. I knew the day was going to be amazing.
She was like an angel.
She was.
She really
Brought
was.
tears to everybody's eyes.
She really did. As soon as she opened her mouth,
Yes.
we all started, it was like instantaneous, boom, crying. Yeah, for sure. I have one for Gail, so let me just go into that one for Gail. Biking through the landscape of Chianti, it was definitely physical and it was a workout, but it was also emotional. Was there a particular thing that stood out for you on that ride?
Yeah, so the ride was, again, magical. The scenery is stunning. The weather was perfect. And there was a moment we were going downhill. The bike got to about 39 kilometers per hour. The wind is just like rushing through my face. And it was just this moment of freedom. Like I felt like I was like flying through Tuscany. My heart was overflowing. And all that I could think of was like, this is what it's all about. This is the point. These moments are priceless. There's not a price you can put on them. And the way that the overwhelming, emotional, heartful, going to stick with that word. It was just like, how does it get better than this?
Yeah, we do all this work, personal development and, I don't know, working out and these dreams of what life will be. And we're always planning for the future. But when you have that moment where you're like, this is it, like all of it, it is like right here, right now. This is it. Beautiful. Okay, let's move on to you. We have heard from you,
Cynthia.
Miss Cynthia. Like from our first dinner with Kim's free pass at the restaurant to now, right? All these different things that we've done in between. Is there a particular taste, sounds, aroma from the trip that you'll just are going to associate with that place? Like when I hear the church bell, I'm going to think of this or something like that.
Like it's going to bring back the memory.
Yeah.
Like you did with the Duomo for my wedding.
Yeah.
Church bells for sure.
Yeah.
There's way too many smells that are just amazing. All the tastes amazing. You can't even, like all the emotions of everything where we've been and everything we've done, you can touch it.
Every single time you look at the Duomo in Florence, you can go, I climbed that son of a bitch. Every time. It's a lot of stairs, guys. It's a lot of stairs, and it's a lot of stairs without coffee at 6 a.m. It's a climb, but you did it. And every single time you see it forever, you can say, I am so proud of what I did there.
For
I
sure.
climbed it. I was on the top. I had the bird's eye view. I think that's so magical, isn't it?
Yeah.
For me, travel often brings out unexpected revelations. What has been your biggest aha moment or insight of the trip? Like, for example, we recently did a trip, and I remember for whatever the reason, everybody had the same sort of response that there was no...
Lack of time.
No, that was one that was in Mykonos, but that's not what I was thinking about. I was thinking about how on one of these trips, it may have been to Italy, where they realized the attention to detail that people took to create a painting, a sculpture, or food, or something like that. What was an unexpected revelation that you had?
Everything here is just stunningly beautiful, and it makes you think, wow, as Americans, we live in this place that's so new, and here you have the history that shows the art and the time and the presence of people who cared about beauty.
And to maintain it.
Yeah.
And to not bulldoze it down and build something new, right?
So yes, respect for the history, the beauty, and the detail and the artistic form is amazing.
That's great.
All right, so last question we're going to do. And actually, this one's going to go around. We'll start here. We'll have everybody just do it real quick. You're chewing. She's chewing. She's passing the mic. If you were to recommend the trip to a friend based on one experience that you had, which moment would you choose and why?
First of all, I'd say overall the trip is seamless, and it's so nice not to have to worry about a thing, think about a thing. You guys have gotten everything buttoned up and nailed down. So that part is just a joy. The part that really stood out as so unique is, of course, going to the Duomo before it opened. I hate crowds. I hate the regular tours, all that stuff.
How long was that line?
Oh, yeah. It was a mile long after we got out. So it was an early wake up, but so worth it because it was just so exclusive. Literally, there was nobody even asking to look into your purse or to ask for a ticket or...
Did you notice how we walked around the metal detectors? The lights weren't even on. We walked in and it was pitch black, and then they brought the lights up. And of course, my daughter told you the story of Pippo the Fool.
She was phenomenal.
Because it was 6:30 in the morning and she hadn't gone on the school bus yet. But that's magical.
And we were made to feel like family. We were just welcomed there, and it was just an amazing, literally once-in-a-lifetime experience to do that. So super special because I have always wanted to see that, but I don't think I could ever wait in a long tour line to do that. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Welcome.
I feel like you're asking me who my favorite child is. There's so many options.
There's the private truth and then there's the public
Well,
truth.
I'd say besides the exclusive access to the Duomo and that dinner location last night, the bike ride and the ability to feel the air in our face going through the hills and being able to experience that was fun, and it was a great moment. But the entire event's been amazing.
What's your favorite moment from the trip? You're going to go home and you're going to say, XYZ person, we won't name names. What are you going to be like? But there was this one moment.
Okay, so for me, it's a little different because it's a realization over the last few years that I have really cut myself off from people. I have been basically a hermit.
I think a lot of people can identify with that. Okay, the hands are going up. So that's true.
After the tragedies that I went through, I really just cut myself off from people, from doing things. And so for me, it was like, okay, here are 9 other humans. We're all here for different reasons, right? But also similar reasons. And then to get to connect with people who want to experience the same types of things and value the same types of things is so heartful.
Yeah, it's hard.
Heartful. We're going to name this
Such a reminder
podcast
when
Heartful.
walking the streets, I was really thinking about this. I was like, I really need to level up my friend and social game. And I have a really hard time in my life finding people that are interested in the same things as me, that are willing. It's not necessarily even a money thing, but willing to even save and focus on the experience. I don't give a shit about the car. If my car gets me from A to B, great. I don't care about the fancy thing. I want to experience life with people that matter. And you all are such a reminder of, wow, this is what meeting even strangers, now we're friends, but just being like, okay, we're friends now and we're experiencing these things together because we all came together for a reason, whatever that may be. So I would tell somebody who is coming that you're experiencing the most beautiful sight and sounds and tasting the most delicious food, but the best part of it is meeting people that care about the same things as you and sharing it with them.
It's always the people, isn't it?
Always.
Even like last night at the cooking class, the 2 chefs, and learning about, one's on call with the baby on the way, and the other one's telling us about how his grandmother made pasta and how life in Italy is changing. And there's a human connection. Like, humanism was born in Florence, and that humanism is what draws us there today. And I think that we're missing that. Like, when our daughter and her friend were visiting, she lives in New York City, and she told us about, there's an Amazon store that you walk in, you scan your Amazon Prime to get in. There's no employees. You get what you want off the shelves and you walk out, and it knows what you have and charges you. And there's not literally a human connection. When we were in New York, we saw a robot delivering food. We're losing human connection. And so to have this, you have to be intentional about human connection, you know?
When I said to Rob last night at the cooking class that, you know, just listening to the chef speak and things in not a sexual way, but it's such a turn on to hear somebody who knows the history and is passionate and knowledgeable and loves what they do. It's such a turn on. Like, it makes you feel alive. It makes you want to be inspired and find that, whatever that is for you, to feel that, I think that's the stuff that I'll remember and that I'll tell people about.
That's amazing.
So
When I made the decision to come, I told my husband that I felt like this trip would be life-changing. That was the word I used. Because it's been so long that I've been able to do anything, so I feel that it's been beautiful, magical.
So listen, life-changing is a really big expectation for us to live up to on that one, so I'm glad you shared this now. What was the most life-changing for you? So she's had babies, and your husband's in the military, and she's been attacked by gluten. What is so life-changing for you?
I had this vision of what I wanted to see, and I kept thinking about it, and it's come true. I didn't know the itinerary when I signed up. I really wanted to come here, going up and having the appetizers and the Michelangelo, like up there. Like I was telling them, I felt like such a badass after I did that bike ride. I ride leisurely bikes along the beach.
17 miles in Tuscany in the hills. 2,000 feet. Listen, with an e-bike, but it's still hard.
It's hard.
My ass will tell you today how hard it is.
That was magical.
So great. Okay.
Definitely not one moment, but even just when I first got here, just walking around and feeling the history and knowing you are looking at buildings and walking streets where people have been living life in all its capacities and all its emotions and all the tragedies and the triumphs and all the things for thousands of years. It's just mind-blowing. So taking all of that in, it was hard to just take it all in. But meeting everyone, I've gone on trips by myself many times for different reasons. And so one of the things I always try to do is just be open-minded, not have any expectations, and just roll with it. And we had some idea of what was in store, but lots of good surprises, and all of them were just above and beyond all the things.
And we still have more. It's not over yet.
Yeah, but the biggest dream come true for me was definitely at our lunch yesterday, overlooking the hills of County. I thought I almost was going to fall over and die.
It's overwhelming.
It's
overwhelming.
I was like, okay, I'm good.
By the way, that trip that we did yesterday, she did for me for my birthday. And I had the same feeling. We had just moved here, really. Yeah. And I looked and I was like, whoa. Like, it hit me right in the face. You can't get that dimension. You can't. Okay, 2 more.
All right. I think wherever we go, every street, every step, there's history. And I want to know what happened here, and this is how I'm feeling. I
Yeah.
want to know who lived here. I want to know their story. I don't get that at home. I don't get that. I want to know what happened here because I think it's everything.
Sometimes, as people probably know if you follow my social media, I like to go on long walks around, and I sometimes take the camera with me. But I walk around and I think about how Leonardo walked that same street at some point. Michelangelo walked that same street at some point. All of these artists, Dante, like these people that what you don't realize is the Renaissance, this period of time that was in this one small city on the other side of the pond from where I grew up, created so much history and so much of what you use today. From the Romans to banking to everything, like art, the most beautiful art in history. Wine. The wine is pretty good, right? But I think about that all the time. Like, whose feet were right here where mine were? And it's like you're literally walking in Leonardo's footprints.
Very heartful.
Miss Kelly, Wong Wei Street Podcast. This episode is brought to you by the Wong Wei Street Podcast with Kelly Wong.
For me, this has been a buffet of goodness, and it's this experience that it's the first trip that I have not opened up my laptop. Every trip I've ever been on, I've always had to open up my laptop. And
Really good.
Taking in the moment and just realizing there's so much more to life than
No, you, I could hug. That was beautiful.
meeting you guys.
Yep.
I can't even talk.
Yeah, I'm so glad. So glad. I think we did it here, huh?
I have a question for you. So
For
it's, yeah, this is like our marriage. So
This
every
is such
year,
an uncomfortable microphone.
I know.
It is like the weirdest sex toy I've ever seen in my life. I don't know what to do with this thing.
Gail does.
It's like tickling me as I'm talking.
You're going to change
It's
its
like
location?
furry.
All right.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's a different podcast, honey. We
Go
do
ahead.
have an explicit rating, but not for that.
Yeah.
So like our marriage. So Rob and I have a rule. Yes, we are married, and yes, we intend to stay together. But every year we ask each other one question.
Yeah.
What's the question?
You want to do another year?
Do you want to do another year? And sometimes it's, do you want to do another day? We
Right.
don't really know.
Sometimes she goes, do I want to do another year?
Uncomfortable pause. No. So my question for you is,
Yeah.
do you want to do another ultimate event like this?
Yeah, I do.
Do you want to do another one?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I
Well,
do.
Then
I-
let's do
I
it.
do
Should
be-
we do another one?
Yeah,
All right. They said
I
yes.
do, because there's just something to being the facilitators of an experience for someone that allows you to add some dimension to their life and be a small part
Yeah.
in doing that. And that feels good.
As I've crafted this trip, I thought about each of you and what you're interested in and what you wanted. And I sent out a survey, like probably too many surveys. But I was like, okay, we have to do this and we need to do this. But they really want that. And I really tried to craft it to not kill you, but to also give you the trip of your life and to create something that would be magical and that would flow. So when you say effortless, that's thank you. Because there's a lot of effort, but it was meant to be that way and to come off that way. But to hear how it impacted you guys is really beautiful and is the joy that I get from this.
Yeah, it's the best compliment ever, because
Yeah.
if you think about looking at a professional tennis player or something, and it's like you just make it look so effortless.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But you don't realize the thousands of hours.
It's not even that. I had so much intention built into this trip because this is our new hometown and I love it so deeply. I love this city and I love this region and I love this country and I want you to love it too. And it looks like you do. Plus, Rob ordered the weather. He called Zeus and got it all handled.
Kim, when she had it all wrapped, she looked at me. I don't even think you remember saying this, but she looked at me and she's like, if any of them don't like this, there's something wrong with them. I was like, I think they're going to be fine, honey.
I think I was probably exhausted, but
All
yeah,
right, that's
that
it.
sounds
It's a
like
wrap.
me.
All right. It's over?
It's over.
All right. We'll see you next week, everybody. Hey, everybody, if you've ever thought about coming to hang out with Kim and I on one of our next Rob and Kim Italia events and you want to learn more, just click the Rob and Kim Italia link in the show notes and add your name and email, and we'll send you all the details as soon as they're available. We are obsessed with this country and how it affects you, and we want to share that magic of culture, food, wine, art, architecture, and some secret magic moments that we've cooked up with you. So be sure to add your name because these events sell out quickly.